So undoubtedly a lot of excitement building up, and Professor Gulshan Sachdeva from School of International Studies, JNU, joining us in the studio. Your thoughts, particularly at the time when this visit is happening?
Well, this is a very, very special partnership.
But not just business as usual.
Well, that's true, because India today has roughly about 35 plus strategic partnerships. And when India signed strategic partnership with Russia in the year 2000, that was the second strategic partnership after France. Since then, we had every year this summit meeting. Only in the last 2 years, because of the war in Ukraine, the summit meeting didn't take place. Now, as you are mentioning, the world is very different. The war is going on. So obviously, at one level, and Prime Minister Modi has this third term, and this is his first visit abroad. So there are many, I would say, different kind of relevance I would put it to this particular visit. One is, of course, to show the robustness of India-Russia relations despite having everything changed. Secondly, this visit of Prime Minister Modi would also be watched very carefully in non-Western capitals, because what most of the countries in Europe and the US and all NATO members, for them, they want to isolate economically, politically, strategically Russia. And within that particular context, I think this particular visit is very, very important. This also shows that yes, India has very close ties with Europe and also with the US and many other countries.
Balance.
But at the same time, India also showcases this particular, with this visit, the strategic autonomy of India. That yes, for India's other relationships are very, very important, but at the same time, this is also a very special relationship India has, which doesn't want to give away, because we have certain interests. We, even the adjectives which have been added with the strategic partnership, a special and privileged partnership. So it means many of those things will happen. But of course, I mean, if you go back to the history,
Kremlin says traditionally good ties.
Traditionally good ties.
The word tradition.
But another thing which has happened in the last 2-3 years, which has actually changed, I would say, the dynamics. One is that we had political, strategic, security ties very close. There was no doubt about this. But one important factor which was relatively weak was your commercial ties with Russia. So as in a very interesting way, after the war in Ukraine, what actually has happened is, because the whole European countries, they moved away from Russia, so they stopped buying from Russia. So now in the last 3 years, what has happened is Russia has become India's 4th largest trading partner. Last year we had about 65 billion trade with Russia. Of course, the large part of this trade is oil imports, and there is also a huge trade deficit. But if you buy energy from any country, there's going to be trade deficit. But at the same time, since Western countries, Western companies are moving away from Russia, this also gives a lot of opportunities for Indian companies to enter into Russian market, because there are demand for different kind of products which they are not getting. So you have Chinese products, you have Turkish products, so there are possibilities that Indian exports can go up. At the same time, we also had a lot of plans earlier. Whether you look at international North-South trade corridor, or you look at Chennai-Vladivostok corridor. Now, there was political commitment to these corridors, but if you look at, say, for example, international North-South trade corridor, it didn't take off because there was no trade volumes.
So you're saying that there would be an accelerated push to certain.
Well, now one is that since the trade has gone up, and it's likely to continue, because West has politically decided to move away from Russia, and Russia as a major exporter and producer of energy will have to find new markets. And India and China are important markets. So in that sense,
the China factor, we will talk about that as well. India factor, China factor, US factor when it comes to Russia, and India being there.